Welcome to the ARW discussion, folks. Today we've got Frank Ward there as our special guest. You guys be careful, Frank. He's got the flu, so try not to get too close to him. You know?
7 days of it.
No problem. I'm far away.
You're right against him there. Whoa. Now my phone's dinging. Anyway, we've woke up the host and got the show started here. And I suppose we're going to get started. The subject for today, believe it or not, is how do you handle heavy things in your shop? Anybody want to tell us about it? Everett?
Well, actually, I was just looking at Stan there. He's got something looks heavy behind him. I'm kind of curious what he's got on the go there.
All right. Stan, what do you got?
Well, I mean, I put in, well, those of you that have visited Bar Z know that I put an overhead I-beam in on the crown of the building, and I've got two 1-ton chain falls that run the length of the I-beam, and I can back a truck in right underneath them and pull stuff right out of my truck, and then just drive the truck out from under it and then get it down on the ground on dollies or whatever. But it's been tested to 4,000 pounds, the I-beam has, and each chain fall is good for 2,000 pounds each. Those skids you see behind me, those just came out in one piece. So those are about 800 pounds each. And I just ran some long slings, threaded them through the pallets, single pointed them up to the top, picked them up about 2 inches out of the back of the truck and just drove out from under them. So it's been good. I've always had some kind of lifting device over in the other side of the shop. And all I used over there was, I used some conveyor track, and it was 1,000-pound rated conveyor track. So it wasn't super heavy duty. It was enough to pick up a surface grinder. My surface grinder, I weighed it. It came in at about 980 pounds. So I was able to pick that up when I did I had to change out the leveling feet on it. Wow. And it's handy to have an overhead if you're going to take apart a machine, to take pieces off of it as you go. You know, if you park a lathe underneath your overhead, you can pull the headstock, you can pull the tailstock, you can pull the bed and take it off in pieces. It's kind of nice. The rolling swing set gantries are nice, like Keith Rucker has. That's pretty cool. You can roll that around in the shop. My space is limited, so I don't really have room for that. I don't have a big open shop like he does. I think what Keith Finner did, he's got what he calls a yard arm at his old location, and he connected it right to the very corner of the building, and it was a vertical pole that would swing past 180 degrees. It would swing out, and then it was a beam that would traverse a chain fall, and he could roll up to that with a pickup truck and swing it around over by his doorway and drop it right at his doorstep there, and then maybe handle it with a cherry picker from there. So he got a pretty good setup.
Yeah, I remember seeing, I've seen him build it.
The yard arm, yeah, I think that's pretty clever. I'm actually considering a smaller version in that over on the other side of the shop over by the Monarch, because some of those chucks that go on that Monarch are no joke. I got a 4-jaw. It'll just kill you to get it on. I actually use my little cherry picker to get it on, but that's not always handy, you know. So I'm coming up with a small way over by the lathe to change out chucks and to pull the tailstock. That tailstock, if you slide it off the bed, it's a commitment. You just it's a pig, and I got to get that tailstock off of there again. It's not oiling right. The tailstock actually has a central oiling system, which is interesting. So I gotta fix some oil lines on that thing.
Unlike normal people, I got one of those rolling around the shop overhead cranes. But I did do one good thing. I made it where you could expand it out or squeeze it back together. And I got to do that every now and then when I'm moving it around in there, because I don't have any room at all. I got less than you got.
Well, I tell you what I'm looking for the one over by the lathe. I'm just looking for I don't even know where they make them. I've been kind of hunting around. I want a miniature chain fall, tiny, 500 pounds. I don't want it to be an awful lot, you know. But I'd like something that's compact, that doesn't take up a whole lot of headroom, because my ceiling height in there is only 8'6". And by the time you hang a I-beam that swings and a chain fall, you've taken up maybe another, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches. So I need it as small as possible so I can have some headroom to work. If anyone's got any ideas on a kind of a miniature chain fall, I'm all ears. The main ones I have in the crown of the shop, the crown of the shop up there is 14 foot. So I got tons of headroom there.
Maybe have a look at this winches they use on trucks and 4x4s. It's a 12 volts
like a cable winch.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can put a chain
on
on
a
it.
trolley that would traverse the length of the I-beam, because I'm going to use I-beam for the swinger. That way it'll swing about almost 180 degrees, and then it would traverse in and out maybe 6 foot.
But you can put it on top of the beam, and then let the chain come from the side. So normally they sell these things with a cable. Don't use a cable. Use a chain. It's more secure. That's my idea.
Well, I don't need that one chuck. My biggest chuck I weighted. It's 240 pounds. So it's not I don't need a lot of capacity.
That's a
I weigh
good
my
start.
tailstock. It's 310. And my tailstock is 310 pounds.
Well, a chain fall is a whole lot better than those electric ones, because the electric job, it comes down fast and pow, it'll set something down on your table that knock a dent in it. I've got an electric hoist, and I put a piece of wood on the mill table every time I set something over there, because it doesn't stop easy and gentle like it's supposed to.
I ended up getting rid of it. I had a Troik rotary table. It was classified as an 8-inch, but it measured every bit of 14 to the pad. And then it had an XY table built into the top of it. And I had to get that up on the milling machine, and good Lord, I ended up selling it. It was just too big and too cumbersome. It was a wonderful piece. But it was just a little too big.
I got a lot of stuff around that's gets heavier every day for some reason.
Well,
I have the same problem. The biggest thing I have to move is my 4-jaw chuck. It's 210 millimeter. I don't know in inches, about 8, 9 inch, then maybe about something like this. And for me, it's too heavy. So I put a broomstick in it, and then put it on the bed, on a piece of wood, of course, and then I try to put it on. But it's not heavy enough to invest in a hoist system or a crane or something.
Well, give it 10 years, it'll be heavy enough.
Not even 10 years. It will be less. It will be. That's for sure.
Well, at that point, then you can start putting something together, like Aaron down in Australia did. His little cart with a little hand winch on it. It's got a little hand off the side of his work cart there. That's a pretty slick little setup.
They sell those at Harbor Freight. You just pump the little foot pedal, and the table comes up, and you slide your stuff off of it. They 300, 400 pound one's $200, and the 1,000 pound one's $300.
But in fact, there's not even need to have this lifting device. If you have a table that you can roll against your lathe, and that always stays on the same height, the problem is fixed, because you take your 4-jaw chuck, put it on your table, roll it away. You don't need to lift or lower it. There's no really need, except if you need it for other machines, then maybe, but
I've got a 12-inch lathe, so all my chucks are nice and light.
I have only 2 chucks, so
Yeah.
and the 3 jaw is a small one. I can pick it with one hand, so that's not really a problem. But it's the bigger one starts to get heavy. Now for moving machines on itself, my little lathe is about 600 kilos, I think. It's about 1,400 pounds, something like this. Someone in the chat will translate it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And to move it, I just move it bit by bit using levers, like Archimedes did a long time ago. I do the same way, and it works fine by me because I have time, no problem. And I think it's about the same way they built the pyramids, so in Egypt. So it's possible. Not later than today, I moved my lathe to fix a little oil leak on the pump on the backside.
What, you got slaves, Rusty?
The pyramids were not built by slaves.
It was aliens.
Yeah, there you go.
Aliens built that. Well, the whole.
Stan, I think you watch too much videos.
I think I do too. I watch too much History Channel. I watched all that Ancient Aliens. It was fun. Some of their If you look at it with an open mind, it's one big joke and you have one big laugh with it. It's perfect. But when you read the comments, the problem is there's people who believe this. Yeah.
Don't just watch it, laugh with it, and when it's finished, it's over. That's it. Game over.
I mean, they covered the Mayans and then down in Peru at Machu Picchu, and they covered all the different ancient cultures and what they had in common and what they didn't
I'm very
have in common.
interested in this old building system, this stonework. For years, I don't really do research, but I watch these things with an open mind, and then they say, oh, there's some ancient technology involved. Of course not. They just used a system that is so simple that we don't even see it. That's all. And I think we have to use the same system to move things around. A few years ago, my daughter had a little problem and she said, this is not possible. I said, everything is possible. And that day, we took my car and my little trailer and we went 500 meters further away down the road. There's an old quarry. And we brought back a stone that weighs about 650 kilograms. My daughter and I, and we used some pieces of wood and a crowbar, and that's all. We put it in the trailer, brought it home, put it in the garden, and then I put my Excalibur in it.
Well, I've actually got my bug out kit right here. If you want, Harold, do you want me to show you what I take with me to do machinery moving?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you want to zoom in on me a little bit?
Yeah.
This is just basic stuff.
Now I lost Stan altogether. Dead burn it. Oh, here we go. Oh.
That's better.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, we see.
Let me switch my camera. There, how's that?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you start off with just blocks of wood. This is a 4x6 that's cut diagonally, and I've got quite a few of those. So that's basically an adjustable wedge. So you would start off by just getting a crowbar under your machine and just get the tip of that under there. Pick up a little, slide it in. Pick up a little, slide it in. And so you've got some space. So I keep those with me at all times. 1-bys are always helpful. just plain old stack blocks. And then you've got different ramps that you use. And this is in addition to a crowbar. I always take a couple of crowbars. Now this is just a plain old 2x4, but again with the ramping type blocks. So you've got 4 sets of these and 4 sets of the larger ones that you always take with you to pick up a machine. And then after that, I got about 25 pieces of 3/4 inch round bar that we just use for rollers. If you get it up high enough and you just want to roll it somewhere across the floor, just the way the Egyptians did it. This is nothing new. You know, this has been around for millions of years, but pretty common. Between a crowbar and what I keep in this kit, I can pick up a machine and move it around a shop. I move my Monarch by myself with this stuff. Nothing happens fast. I do not believe that the pyramids happen fast. I do not believe that Machu Picchu happened fast, but it still happened. You know? So that's a basic bug out kit for me. If I'm going to go do a machine, throw a crowbar in the back, and then we've actually got Hillman rollers too. I've got a Hillman roller kit, but depending on how far you got to move it. Are you guys familiar with Hillman rollers? I can go get them and show them to you if you're not.
No, that'd be cool.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that'd be
Go
cool.
for it.
Okay, I'll go get a Hillman kit. I'm not going to get the whole kit out. I'm just going to get one roller. So go ahead and cut to somebody else.
All right.
I'll be back in a second. I'll tell you what a Hillman roller is.
Well, I tell you what, Harold.
Yes.
While he's doing that, I've only got a small shop, as you know, a bit like Michelle. So for me, an engine hoist is the key bit of machinery. I don't normally need to. That's normally for like lifting machines around. I did print something out. So I hope you can see this. I don't know if you will be able to. Yeah. So if I get it right, there we go. So you can see that's when my shaper arrived. If you can see that.
Yeah.
And you know, I used that to. Excuse me. I moved that. That's right. To move the shaper around. The problem was, you know, it lifts it all right, but the shaper's really top heavy. And on that gravel, you could see I got some wood blocks and some rollers there, but the thing just wanted to fall over. And there was only me, and it took me about 2 hours to get that from that position to the door. Once I was in the room, I could just move it in on metal rollers. So it only weighs about 400 kilos, so, you know, something less than half a ton. But the stand is so light relative to the machine. But that would be typical. Also the same for moving my big drill press, pillar drill. Same thing, use the engine hoist. That's what I do. I've got a couple of, I can't show you, but if you've seen my channel, I've got a couple of wooden beams above that run above the lathe. So, you know, with a chain or a strap, I could do something there. So that's how I go about it.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, I've got one of those engine lifts myself, but the legs are splayed out at an angle.
Oh, yeah.
They interfere with everything. The first little mill that I got was a Grizzly, one of those with a round column, and I didn't have a stand for it, so I was going to put it on a workbench back in the corner. And I run that thing up there, and I had half of that Grizzly hanging off in the floor and half of it over the workbench. I had to get a chain hoist and drag it back on there because the legs hit the wall. You know? Yeah.
It's not easy. It's not a perfect solution, but you know, when it's what you got, it's what you got. And there's you know, you just take your time. You know, you do a bit, have a coffee, do a bit, have another coffee, and think about it. And
you should take your time, think a lot, and do little, and it works. When I brought my shaper in, it was in 2 parts. And then, of course, the bottom part is a casting is not too heavy, but I can lift it. Right? And then I rolled it out of my trailer with 2 wooden ramps that I had fixed. I screwed in the bottom of my trailer, and I drilled holes in the concrete of my garage, so I was sure nothing should move, and then put the stand somewhere in the middle. But then the top part is way heavier.
Yeah.
I couldn't put it on the floor because I can't lift it up. So I changed my ramp system and put the shaper on my table. I have a nice solid table in my workshop. And when it was on the table, built a new ramp to put it on the base. So I spent almost all day assembling this shaper because I also had to make a special spanner because the oil pipe comes out lower than the bottom of the shaper, so I couldn't roll it properly, and then to put this pipe back together between the stand and the shaper, there was no room, so I had to make a really flat spanner but wide, and then but it works, as you see in my videos when shaper is there. It works.
Yeah, but did you make a video about the ramp?
No.
Opportunity.
No, I brought these machines in before I did YouTube, so.
Okay. No video. I know. We just have to trust you then.
All right.
For once, trust me. Yeah.
We'll switch over to Stan here and see what he's got.
Okay, let me switch cameras again. There, how's
All
that?
right.
And then I'm gonna try to maybe tilt you down so you can see this kit. There, how's that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a 30-ton Hillman kit, and there's 4 of these rollers.
Wow.
They're very heavy, and they use needle bearings like a tank track. They go around an oval piece of steel.
That's an idea.
That is
So
slick.
they just kind of like an army tank, just kind of cruise along the floor. You know, this is a 30-ton kit, so each one of these rollers is good for 7.5 ton, and it'll carry 7.5 ton, but it won't roll over a tie route. So your floor's got to be clean, and it doesn't like expansion joints in the concrete, and you need a really nice smooth surface. I wouldn't try to unload a machine off of maybe a trailer or anything. Trying to go down ramps or anything like that, or trying to roll over diamond plate would be cumbersome. But what you get are these, they call these a steering handle. And after this is down on the machine, you've got a swivel pad and a very thick, heavy rubber base so they don't slip. You slip this in and you can grab a hold of the wheel, and then you can steer it. So you've got a pair of steering handles and 4 Hillman rollers, and that's a basic Hillman kit. And they've got other kits available where you can actually take 2 rollers, put 2 rollers, say these were 4 feet apart, but you can put a link between them so they steer, kind of like a car, and you can steer both of them at the same time. Then they'll have a handle that you can pull on them, like a T-handle, where you can actually pull it on the machine and move the machine and steer it at the same time. This is a small kit, but it's handy, and it's moved an awful lot of stuff. I use these, they probably come out a good 6 or 7 times a year. But they're just wonderful to have, and it's a heavy kit. This kit almost needs forklift pockets. It's just kind of a pig.
That is a genius idea, though. That's awesome.
So that's a standard Hillman kit right there.
We have Adam there, small town machine shop. He's also a special guest. He hasn't been here before. Let's see what he does about moving heavy stuff. Whoa.
That was nothing. It wasn't me.
He dropped his ring. Hello, Adam.
In the shop, I mostly just use rollers, and I got a 2-ton gantry crane, and I got a 1,000-pound hydraulic lift cart from Harbor Freight. As far as machines go, bringing them here, because I don't have a forklift, and I'm in a pretty heavy residential area. Tilt deck trailer is the way to go.
Yeah.
You can load just about anything with a tilt deck.
I rented one of those, but I couldn't back it up the driveway straight. I ran off in the grass, made a big old rut down the side of the driveway, and it's finally just bottomed out on the concrete. It still tilted to unloaded the machine, but I got in a lot of trouble over that. Boss lady didn't like the hole in the yard. How about you down there, Mr. Frank Ward? How do you do it? Frank?
Well, when I'm working on heavy machinery, I've been using my, the pallet racking for. Hello. Oh,
We can hear you.
Yeah.
hello.
We got you.
Yeah.
Okay. You know the pallet racking that they use in the warehouses and stuff? I
Yeah.
got a 10-foot and a 12-foot, and I set it over the top of the machinery while I'm working, or if I'm loading it on the trailer, I just jack it up, pull the trailer underneath it, drop it, and I can take it to the.
Gotcha. Thank you,
That's
David.
where we lost connection.
Yeah. Steve, you got
I
something?
think you dropped the machine on the cable on the.
Yeah. Steve, you got something behind you. You want to move that around?
I do. Matter of fact, let me get out of the way. I have. This is my cherry picker right here.
Yeah.
Hold it up.
Let me give you
The
a big
problem
picture
with it
there.
is that if I want to use it to move a machine, I got to move everything out of the shop first before I can use the cherry picker. There it is.
Yeah.
There.
All right.
Right there.
Gotcha.
But I had one, and I downsized my shop a number of years ago, and I ended up selling the cherry picker. And it was one of those things that the minute I sold it, I regretted it. And so I just purchased that one because I got a new base for my mill, and I wanted to move the mill, which is over here on the side. And I wanted to put that on the new base. So I picked up the cherry picker and was able to relocate the mill. And now I've got that small Sheldon horizontal mill that'll be coming into the shop hopefully this fall. I've had to rearrange the shop, and now that I've got the cherry picker, I'm going to bring it over in two pieces. It's just too top heavy to try and move without special equipment. So I can actually take it apart, just take the belts off, and then I can lift the top off of it. And it'll be a lot easier to handle even moving it into the shop. I can use the cherry picker to do that.
Wow.
But other than that, all my machinery is fairly small in the shop, so I don't have anything heavy inside the shop to move other than the machinery itself.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I remember Mr. Pete showing us his mill down in his basement and how he took it apart and had 2 or 3 guys help him carry it down. That had to be an experience, a bad experience.
Probably, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Just a piece.
I prefer to this kind of things alone. If you too much people around, heavy stuff, and something happens, I don't want it. When I move things, I do always alone, and then stop in time, think a bit, see if it's possible, see if I don't forget something, because on machines sometimes you have a lamp attached or something else that you don't think about when you move it, and then you break something. And I think breaking things is a bit useless in a workshop.
Yeah.
Not only in the workshop.
It's kind of
I
story
do
about life.
agree with you a little there, Rusty, but it's awful nice having a helper as long as they're conscious of what's going on around them. And, you know, a lot of times you're leaning on a crowbar really hard and you just want to slip a couple wedges under something, and you need a couple of hands just to get those wedges going for you or something like that.
Yeah.
As long as they're a good, responsible, conscious worker, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But if I die, I want it to be my own fault. I don't want it to be somebody else's fault.
Yeah, I do almost everything I do by myself.
Well, it's tough sometimes. Sometimes you just need a little help, an extra set of hands.
Yeah.
Well, even when I moved, I was that nut who had to rent a Zoom boom to move because, well, the mill's 2,200 pounds, the lathe's 1,000, the shaper's 850. I had 2 bins full of steel that, job boxes full of steel that needed to be moved. So, yeah, I rented a Zoom boom, and yeah, my new neighbors got an interesting sight, as we were moving into the house. That's for sure. They got a good laugh out of it and teased me about it as they got to know me.
Have you guys seen? Any of you guys watch SV Seeker?
Yep.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
Have you seen his latest where they're moving out?
No, not yet. No.
They tipped over a telehandler trying to move a container.
Oh.
And they used another telehandler to upright it. They had this container and they were trying to get over a gate, and he went off camber. That container swung and it took the whole Zoom boom over with him.
Whoa.
They just stood it back up and drove it away. They shrugged stuff off, but that's a pretty crazy video. It's pretty recent, last few days.
As long as nobody got hurt.
No one got hurt.
Wow.
They shrug it off. They do some pretty unsafe looking stuff though. Those guys scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I used to watch that on a regular basis, but when he faked blowing himself up, I unsubscribed to him, and I
remember that. That was a couple years back.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen a couple of their videos. I haven't really followed them. So.
Yeah, and I'm like you, Everett. I watched about a few of them and then never got around to it again.
Well, I'm having fun enough trying to keep up with everybody who I call my friends. So it's, even then, half the time I'm watching on a TV chasing kids around the living room or something, and so I don't get to commenting near it. So it looks like I'm spamming people for comments. No, it's just I watched 8 of them and I have to catch up.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit everyone's problem. We would like to see all the videos for all the YouTube friends. It's not possible. Don't have the time. We have to pick out some videos, and then next week we will watch some other guys, and we don't have the choice. I spent all morning sending emails, all these kind of things, only for YouTube. That's all. Now it's fun to do. That's not what I want to say, but it takes so much time.
Is my keys in there?
Yeah.
To open the back.
I think Frank's giving us a tour.
I think he escaped out of the house.
Yeah.
I think he's on vacation. That looks like a travel trailer.
Yeah. I parked the travel trailer down at the shop here, so when I get tired, I can go lay down for a while and get up and get back and go.
Well,
they don't have no bathroom facilities at the building. He was supposed to put it in this last 6 months ago, but another thing he's not doing. So I have to use my travel trailer as our restroom and then run it up and forth. I'm on the show, Mary.
Wow.
My wife's going, what in the hell's going on here? Just a bunch of crazy people.
I don't have this problem. I'm all alone here, so.
Yeah, you'd probably jump if somebody asked you what's going on.
This is getting interesting.
Yeah.
Action movie.
He's taking it for a walk. That's good.
Yeah.
Get my cargo trailer open and I can sit down.
There you go.
Hey, I didn't have any choice. I had to go satellite internet out here, and they have been the worst. I had nothing but issues with them.
Yeah.
You know what I was saying earlier on lifting stuff? I've got electric over hydraulic lifts for lifting up 26 feet in the air. And then I've got a hand crank one that's 800 pounds. You just walk it up. It's my second hands. And then when I'm loading equipment, after I get it out here back and forth, I have pallet racking. And I'll set it up and bolt it all together. And then I can take the winches and go up on the four corners, pick it up, drive a trailer underneath it, set it down. I don't have to do the roller stuff, just to roll it out the door. And then hopefully next year I get a forklift, though.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I wish I just had enough floor to need a forklift. I've two-car garage full of junk. Every time I want to do something, I have to move. Like Stan said, Steve, I got to move something up to move something in.
Yeah.
When I had my commercial shop, we had a 2-ton electric budget crane. It was called. The manufacturer was Budget, and it had a fairly low gear ratio, so you could set things down softly with it by just bumping it. And that was on a trolley on an I-beam, and we used it for unloading all the heavy stuff, the engines and everything. And when I would bring an engine in, I would set them on heavy-duty benches that were on wheels. So once we got it off of the truck onto a bench, we could roll it around. The bench was maybe 18 to 24 inches high. So it was a nice height that if you had a whole engine sitting on it, you could actually disassemble it without having to bend over or anything else. And in addition to that, we had the cherry picker that you could move anywhere in the shop, but the shop was big enough that it could go anywhere. And we had machinery specific chain falls. We had a brake drum lathe that was so large that it actually had its own beam with a chain fall on it to lift heavy duty truck brake drums and so on. And then I had another one over top of my resurfacing machine because we would put cylinder blocks and big diesel heads in that. So we had a dedicated chain fall for that.
I remember
for the truck brake drums, didn't they use vertical lathe? You see what I mean? The spindle of normal lathe is horizontal. But the machines I've seen when I was in the truck business world, they put the brake drum on a vertical lathe.
Never saw one of them. Those were specific made for brake drums. And we had anywhere from a 3/4 spindle up to about a 3-inch spindle for the big machine. And that you could actually mount trailer tires with wheels on them, and that's what you for. And had a big bearing that would mount on the end of the arbor, and you'd actually offset the weight of the wheel with your chain hoist so that you didn't bend the arbor while it was turning.
Well, for anybody,
the one I saw, because sometimes these guys didn't have the time to come deliver the brake drums, and then I think once or twice I went over there to go pick up our brake drums, and then I saw these machines they had, and they were vertical, and the bottom is not really a chuck, but they bolted the drums like you bolt a wheel on a truck or a trailer, and then there were openings to evacuate the chips.
Never seen anything like that. Interesting.
But I never worked on these machines. I went there, picked up our brakes, put it in the truck, and then brought them back to the workshop. and it was heavy.
Well,
Those
nowadays,
truck brake drums are really heavy.
Yeah.
They were.
well, nowadays the passenger cars are pretty much disposable. The brake drums and rotors.
Yes, they
They
are.
they don't even mess around with turning them because
Oh, no, not anymore. No, it's finished.
they don't give you enough material on there to make them serviceable.
Yeah.
So as a result, it's funny. I see them all the time on Craigslist. You can pick up a brake and rotor machine cheap, and I've been trying to figure out what could you do with that. What kind of? I mean, it's a cool
Good
machine.
question.
But what could you do with the over here? They're called AMCO,
Right.
brake and rotor machines, and they're pretty much like a lathe. They're pretty cool. But what could you do with that? No RPM. They don't spin fast.
They were toys. As far as brake machines are concerned, they were toys.
Mixing concrete.
Well, maybe a welding positioner.
In these vertical machines that I say, maybe you can mix soup in it or for making bread or something. But the horizontal, I don't see.
Well, now, what are they doing with the heavy trucks, the 18-wheelers and stuff like that? Are those brakes still serviceable?
There's no point in machining them. Anytime we had one we had to do a brake job at the shop there. I mean, the gunite, I can't remember the part number, but they're basically $70 to get a drum. It was $70 wholesale to get one around here.
Wow.
So at that point, there's no point in machining it.
No,
you got a fresh surface,
not.
you put new shoes on, that brake set's good. And they're still pecking heavy. They're like 120 pounds a piece. But
I believe you.
Me and my wife were actually talking about this last night, and we're talking about the disposable society, and everyone's screaming that we use something up and throw it in the trash directly. It's because the manufacturers are making it that way. Nothing's serviceable. I was fixing a vacuum cleaner for her, and all it was one very small part, but she had to buy this large subcomponent to get this one little small part, and I ended up changing a bunch of stuff out just in her. It was not a vacuum, it was a carpet scrubber, a cleaner. They use the water and the scrubber and all that stuff, but it was a pretty expensive machine, so we bought the replacement parts and repaired it. And and it's good that these companies are making something actually serviceable. A lot of these guys, they'll make an electronics board, pour it full of resin, and ship it off. And when that thing dies, you just replace it, period. And if it had a bad anything inside, it had a bad resistor or even a bad solder joint, there's no chance of repairing it because it's encased in resin, and until we get away from that disposable society, we're still our landfills are gonna be full, and they're just turning us into a bunch of consumers. I've got an old Frigidaire refrigerator in the garage from the 70s that's still running, the very first one I ever bought, and my wife has chewed through 3 refrigerators in our house since then, and stuff goes obsolete. I think she's got an LG in there now, piece of junk. The compressor's been changed like 3 or 4 times, and a bunch of electronics have been changed, and that old Frigidaire just keeps cruising along. They don't build stuff to last, and and then after a few years, they don't want to service it anymore. They do a cutoff, obsolete, done. And the same thing with brakes. I mean, they could add more material to the brakes and bring back the serviceability of those brakes.
The problem is trying to get the weight of the car down for gas mileage. That's where it went. Every ounce that they can take out of the car gives them better gas mileage, and that's what that's been all about.
Yeah. Stan, I know why your refrigerator out there in the shop lasts so long. Alcohol is a good preservative.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Antifreeze.
Antifreeze, that's right.
That must be it. Okay. I did more than 20 years with a fridge, and when I moved, I left it there. It still works. But maybe, yeah, that's the reason. No.
My mother had a gas
But there was
refrigerator.
also some food in it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother had a gas refrigerator. You don't see much of those.
Yeah.
And it lasted about 30 years.
I agree
We
with
had
the
a small one on a towboat I worked on. This, you could switch it to 24 volts or propane. We use it on propane.
Yeah, the RVs have them. My travel trailer has one that's either 12 volt or propane.
The only trouble I ever had with the gas refrigerators is they're very temperamental to the ambient air temperature. If it gets a little cold outside, your milk is frozen in the morning.
Yeah, they freeze up.
So they run hot and cold inside. They don't maintain a great temperature. If they had a way to stir up the air inside, circulate the air, it would be better.
Yeah. I don't remember all that. I don't just remember my mother had that. It was a Frigidaire, I think. And she'd had that thing forever. Finally, one day I went over, she had a new refrigerator. I was kind of surprised. Guys, do any of you guys ever get into cooperative projects, or do you think about it, or are you willing to do it?
I would totally be willing to once I have a place to work again.
What kind of projects?
Cooperative, where you do a part of it, somebody else does another part.
Yeah, like what?
Yes.
I did.
For the moment, we're exchanging plans with Nigel from Go Create workshop. And he's making this baby vice. I don't know if you've seen this video. I have the plans in the workshop. I don't have them here anymore. And he asked if some people were interested in making parts and then sent to him. And he's going to put this together. And it's to help out... how do you say? Hi, I'm getting too old for this shoot.
Veterans, veterans, machinists.
Yeah, veterans. Thank you. Yeah. And of course, I participate in this kind of things. Yes. That's fun to do, but I still have to start. The whole thing is only starting up. So one of these days we will make parts, and I see Matty's workshop is in the chat. He's participating too. So there will be parts that come from over the whole world. Will go to Scotland and then to the USA.
All right.
That's nice.
I just did one with Tom Knopp from Hilltop Machine and Dudley Toolwright. The three of us each made a part and put it together. Tom actually assembled the final piece. And then there was another one made in Australia, and Matty did part of that one.
Right.
I know Craig from Craig's Workshop did part of it, and I forget who the other one was in Australia. We actually made two, one there and one here. And a gift for somebody that eventually, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to post the videos on it.
This kind of cooperations, I think it's fantastic to do. I love it. It proves again that the world is a small place.
Yes.
And maybe we better take care of it. This may be a good idea to do this. But I think it's wonderful. One of these days I'm gonna have a visit of another YouTube. We're gonna make a part together. We will video it, of course. But for me, it's a bit like a dream come true. You see, I would like to come and see and work together with all YouTubers. Of course, it's not really possible, but that's a bit the idea.
There's the amazing part that a bunch of amateurs can build something that fits together. All the parts fit together.
That's the interesting part of it. John Saunders did that with the Johnny 5 project. I hope to see some more on that. And there were literally hundreds of people that made parts on that. I made a piece, and I hope it fit.
With a big hammer, it will fit. It's like this cooperation when they remade the door of the Apollo 11, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. All these YouTubers made parts and send them in. But I think it should be some kind of climax, you see. When they did the assembly of it, it was live on YouTube, but there was no narration, and in fact you didn't know which part came from where and what. It was just some footage from far away. So excuse me, but I thought it was a bit an anti-climax. That's my opinion. But the idea is wonderful, and I hope there will be lots more. It's really fun to do.
The last thing I did,
the Project Egress was pretty neat that they did with the Apollo escape hatch. You guys watched any of that? I mean, Tom Lipton, Blondie Hacks, a few of the YouTubers we know were involved in that.
Absolutely.
A lot of those people got invited over to the Smithsonian to watch Adam Savage try to put all this stuff together. Jimmy DeResta made a piece, and I think John Saunders made a piece, and
this old Tony made some.
Yeah, he made a piece for it. So Adam Savage was there assembling all the stuff, and so it was pretty cool to watch that. And then Keith Finner used to do a thing called "What's in Your Box," and he would do that every year at Christmas time. And some of the YouTubers got together. We built a grinding precision vise, and it was a pretty big collaboration. It started off with a chunk of steel from Adam Booth. He did the rough machining. It went to Brad Jacob, Basement Machine Shop. He did a little bit. And we had parts coming in from all over. And then it finally came to me and Tom Lipton, and we got it hardened. And then we did the rough grinding up at his place. And then we did the finish grinding here at my place. And Keith Rucker made a box for it. And then it got shipped off to What's in Your Box. And it was sad. We got to see Keith Finner give it away, but we lost track of it. We don't know who has it or where it went. It didn't go to a YouTuber, but it did go to a worthy apprentice. But I'd still like to know the whereabouts of that vise. It turned out really nice.
What about that pink vise you guys sent over to Pennsylvania?
Oh, that was just a joke. See, I shot that video. I shot that video in black and white.
Oh man, that's a shame.
Because it was a powder coating video, and it was going over. A lot of people don't know the powder coating process, so I'm in these shops all the time. So I was over at a friend of mine's shop, getting stuff powder coated. So I say, hey, I got this vise. It's a new old stock Wilton vise, a bullet vise, and I'm going to get it powder coated for Brad Jacob. And then as soon as the vise got out of powder coat and back in my shop and we're unwrapping it and everything, the video mysteriously turned black and white. So nobody knew what color. Oh, my memory card's full. Let me switch cameras here.
My memory card is blank.
Let me try this.
Mine fails always.
Yeah, I don't know. Every time that camera goes to sleep, so you have to hit the. You gotta actually record to make it stay on. Otherwise, it just goes to sleep and turns itself off. Anyways, so that video mysteriously turned black and white, and Brad Jacob watched and he goes, "Oh man, thanks for powder coating my vise." He thought I had it done in gray. And we put Hello Kitty stickers on it and sent it off to him in black shrink wrap. And then I said, "You owe me an unboxing video." And when he sliced that black shrink wrap and peeled it back, and it was bolted down to a piece of wood, hot pink metallic. I thought, yeah, that was great. Well, Brad, I don't know whether Brad's watching today. Hey, if you're watching this show, say something down in the comments. But he's like the kid in high school that used to punch in the arm, and you don't know why you did. You just punched him in the arm. You don't know why you did. We were always doing that to him. So if you get a chance, there's a video when we were doing that vise. I was up at Tom Lipton's doing the rough grinding on that vise, and we sent it to a friend of mine that's a really good Photoshopper. And we took a photo of the vise on Lipton's machine with the grinding wheel and everything on his surface grinder, and we sent it to my friend, and he doctored it up to make it look like we just ran the wheel into that thing and destroyed the vise. And, we texted the picture to him and said, and all we did is say, "Dude, you got to call us right away." And that's all we said. And he called me back within like 10 minutes, and I put him on speaker and I recorded it for YouTube. And me and Tom Lipton are just sitting there twisting the knife for like a half an hour, telling him that we just destroyed this vise for what's in your box. And he was freaking out. It was great.
I bet Tom Lipton's a lot of fun to be around.
Yeah, he loves a good practical joke like we all do, I'm a sucker for it. Actually, there's a good playlist on my channel called Punking My YouTube Buddies. Watch that playlist.
I'll have to watch that.
Do that, yeah.
Well, it contains the styrofoam I sent over to Australia too.
Yeah, I like that.
The styrofoam bomb. You never saw that one?
Oh yeah, that's great.
Oh, it was
You remember?
It was made out of a 5-gallon bucket and styrofoam peanuts, and when you open the lid, there was a 5-second delay, and they would blow styrofoam peanuts all over your shop.
We had a guy that had an office around the hall for me. In fact, he was the only office in that hall. The rest of it, air conditioning room and stuff. And he was actually my boss. He went on vacation. We filled that room full of styrofoam peanuts all over his desk, everywhere, and eased the door shut. And when he opened the door, it just came pouring out all over the place.
People still use those. I hate styrofoam so bad. I mean, the peanuts. I mean, the shop vac comes out right away.
Yeah.
I just hate them.
When I worked in the evil polluting refinery, there was this old rusty unit over there shut down probably for 50 years. And
5. That's why I paid for it.
The training guy, they called him Chief. He would take every new class of operators over there to show them the styrofoam unit where he used to work when he started out. So it's been around a while.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's relevant to this or not. But
Styrofoam is easier to move than machines.
oh, it certainly is. You take a little drop of acetone, put on a styrofoam cup, and it just.
You're talking about collaborations earlier. I'm still waiting to see when Chris is going to come out with finishing off his taper attachment. That was the last thing I did before leaving my old shop and tearing all the machinery out, was cutting a dovetail block for him. So I'm kind of curious to see that one come together. I've also got video edited, ready to go, but I don't want to steal his thunder.
No, have to do it together.
That's just it. I'm waiting for him to come out with his part first, and then I'll release how that part was done. Because I don't want to pull the rug out from under him.
Yeah. Paul, I like your new microphone that you used on your video. That I need one myself. So if you'd email me the order number or part number, where you got it.
Yeah. I mean, the one I bought was a Synco microphone. I think it's a Chinese brand. But anyway, but this wasn't a like a German brand made in China. This was actually a Chinese brand, I think. But anyway, the point is, it was about a fifth of the price of a Rhoda wireless mic. So if I can find your email address, well, I've got your email address, of course.
Yeah.
So I'll mail it over to you.
Great.
Yeah, do that.
That'd be wonderful. I've got a really great microphone in my camera. It's a Canon, but if I get like 5 or 6 feet away, then it starts to have a little trouble. And it has that problem. It picks up the machine just as good as it does me.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
I mean, the problem I find in general, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I've just edited my 100th video, and I wished I knew what I know now when I did the first, the 10th, the 50th, and I think I'm just about getting ready to sort out my audio. And I listened to it, and I wish I could go and remake the last 99.
I think we all don't you think so?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I rewatch my first video, I say, and that is public.
I went back and deleted. I deleted a bunch of mine.
And then now you think, okay, I've got it. This is good, okay. And I'm sure that 100 videos further from here, when 1 or 2 years, I'm gonna say again.
Yeah, exactly.
After I did 300, that's when I went back and looked at the old ones, and I deleted a whole bunch.
All right.
It's all a reiterative process. We're slowly nudging our way forward. All of us are growing in different ways, and it's just part of the process, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We're all amateurs.
I think you've just got to do it to learn it. There's no other way. You just got to do it.
It's part of the fun. Huh?
You can't be afraid. You can't be afraid of making an idiot of yourself on national television, as it were. Whatever.
I've always been an idiot. I don't have to make anything. Okay, guys, we've had our hour, and we're going to have to go. Yeah. Some of these guys may hang around here and shoot the bull, but y'all won't know it. But thanks for showing up and watching, and you guys that showed up to participate, I appreciate that too. Thank you.
Next time.